Hello and welcome to the Staten Island Morning Show. I'm Nikki Stanzione.
And I'm Don Smith. We're so happy you could join us here today.
The New York City ferry system has put a potential expansion from Staten Island to Brooklyn on hold for the foreseeable future. The expansion has been shelved because the system needs to become financially sustainable first. That drive for financial stability was the motivator behind a recent fare increase in September. The ferry expansion will reportedly be reconsidered at a future date.
Okay, so that's a little bit of welcome news there.
Right.
I mean, if they expand that ferry, that's what you want to do,
Exactly.
But at this time of the year, standing outside the ferry, it's got to be a kind of an interesting deal. It's got to be pretty cold crossing the Verrazano Bay there.
Speaking of cold, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be, you definitely have to bundle up just a little bit for that.
Oh yeah,
ride.
yeah. You're inside or even just kind of standing outside on the ferry there at St. George.
It is, but it's always a good view, I'll tell you that.
Absolutely, that's right. The S79 bus cameras will start issuing tickets for bus lane violations and other violations as well. MTA officials say they have the capability to go after things like double parking and illegal U-turns.
While the S79 buses are the only ones currently with cameras, the MTA says they want to expand them to other Staten Island routes in the future. The cameras were installed on buses in late October and have been issuing warnings. Those warnings become tickets in 2023.
So be aware, they always say Big Brother is watching. So they are absolutely watching, and that they're going to expand that through as many of those bus lines as you possibly can get them on. You probably eventually making your way into Manhattan and over to Brooklyn and into the Bronx and Queens, eventually all 5 boroughs. But, a lot of times they'll do just a test run of it to see how many violations, I guess, they're kind of racking up. Again, they're just warnings for now. Come New Year's Day, that's it. You're going to get the tickets.
Heed the warnings, right? Yeah. And the thing is also with that is just remember what you said is so true. You can't really get away with anything these days. There's always somebody watching. You go on, I went on the internet to find something and it said, do you want to go back to some location that I drove to a week ago that had nothing to do with what I was even searching for? And I wasn't searching for it on that same device.
Right.
And I thought, everybody knows everything.
That's
so
it.
Just
everyone's listening. Everyone's listening. The cameras are all over the place, your phones and whatnot. And again, as technology continues to advance, these kind of things, I think, are going to be more prevalent.
Exactly.
And even probably tolls. We'll see.
So, when they say do as you would if someone was watching when no one's watching, someone's always watching is the bottom line of the story.
You make a t-shirt of that or something, right?
We should copyright that.
Oh, I like that. Yes.
Just footnote me in the bibliography.
Yeah, all right. So if you're commuting on the subway, you'll notice new customer service centers opening up at several stations across the 5 boroughs, including the St. George Staten Island Railroad Station. The MTA will open these centers at 6 subway stations early next year. The kiosks will offer full-service customer assistance with service only as Omni and reduced fare support. The St. George's station will be one of the first 6 to open a customer service center. 9 more will open later in 2023. As we get more of this, faceless kind of nameless kind of environment, either with Amazon and you just click on your phone and you do this and whatever. And then every time you try to call for customer service, you can never get anybody on the phone.
Automated.
And automated. Yeah. It's nice to see that customer service centers are actually opening where you can actually go and actually speak to somebody because it just makes things, I think, a little easier for a lot of people. I just have a question that the phone can't answer or an app can't answer.
And in addition to that, I think it also helps with those who are looking for work.
Yeah.
Because everything is so automated, everything is technological, and all of these people are not robots, and these people therefore lose opportunities to be actually employed. So I think it also expands the opportunity for employment.
Yes,
in addition to giving us as the customer the service that we've been missing.
Sure, exactly.
Now, the New York City Lantern Festival is in Staten Island this holiday season. They've got a drive-through display open at St. George's Staten Island University Hospital Community Park. We heard all about it from their spokesperson, Christine Nicholas.
Here now to talk about it is festival spokesperson Christina Nicholas. Thank you so much for joining us, Christine.
Hi, Christine.
Hey, thanks so much, Nikki. And an early happy birthday to you, Nikki. And I thought a great place for you to spend your birthday if you're still not sure where to go.
I'm all up for it. It's my first birthday back in town. So I'm ready for anything that Staten Island and New York has to offer for us. And so that being said, what can people expect at the Lantern Festival this year?
Well, this is a little bit different this year. As you probably know, they've been on Staten Island for a few years, but they moved it this year to the Staten Island University Hospital Community Park, where the baseball team plays, the Staten Island Ferry Hawks. So it's still outdoors, but a little bit protected from those elements that Don spoke about, or your weatherman.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry about that. So it's a little bit protected. And it's also a great treat to announce with you guys is that now kids 12 and under, thanks to support from the Staten Island Advance, will be able to go for free.
Great.
So if
nice.
you go online at Winter Festival, it's the NYC Winter Lantern Festival, but they have a beautiful website because they actually have 4 Winter Lantern Festivals this year. In addition to Staten Island, they're at the Queens Farm Museum, they're in Nassau County, and they're in Suffolk County. So they've certainly expanded. But for Staten Island kids, if you go on, thanks to the Staten Island Advance, when you buy your tickets, just put SIA for Staten Island Advance, SIA Kids. And with Showtix, it'll honor that. And as long as you have a paying adult, you can bring as many kids as you'd like, because what they want to do is really show the kids what this wonderful Lantern Festival is all about. It's called Journey to the East. And it is part of the Chinese culture to bring light and joy, especially with the new year coming. So it's really a fantastic opportunity to celebrate the holidays.
Aw,
Wonderful. We love it.
that sounds incredible.
Great stuff. So now, any kind of a festival always takes an army of individuals to put this together. So what was the process of putting this year's Lantern Festival together?
Oh my goodness. Well, it is just so amazing when you see it. There are 10,000 or so lanterns, and from small to large. I think 30 feet tall is the largest one that they have. There's some photos, but they're all hand painted.
Oh,
So, each one is designed individually. So when you look at them, you look at the detail. These are really pieces of art. They're really, really wonderful. And, I know Jessica was on saying she's got 2 young kids. I have 3 teenagers. Okay. So this is great for little kids, but it's also cool for teenagers. And it's hard to find that mix that they can do both. So the teenagers think that it's cool for Instagram purposes and TikTok,
I was just thinking that.
all the wonderful things that they do with their phones nowadays. But also there's a little playground for the kids. So for the little kids, the little kids the lanterns are so big. If you are only like 3 or 4 or 5 years old, I mean, it's like bigger than life. They feel like they're, it's really exciting to see their faces. So again, thanks to the Staten Island Advance, all kids 12 and under will be able to enjoy the New York City Winter Lantern Festival Journey to the East in Staten Island only.
I love this. You know what? I was thinking as I'm looking at the pictures, of course, first thing that came to mind was photo ops. And for everybody, for family photo pictures, for, of course, like you said, the teenagers that are doing, their Instagram pictures, the photo ops are extraordinary, right? But also, you're having it at a very special place. So I know we both really want to know, how much does hosting it at the baseball stadium actually help with organizing the festival?
Well, they're very involved. Eric Schliffer was really supportive of this. The Fairy Hawks, when they made the announcement that it was coming, they had the mascot there. Eric was there, the folks from the baseball team. John Castanatides is a big supporter of that. He owns the baseball team, so he was there to support this. So, this is really a community effort. And by moving it over to Empire Outlets, it also allows for additional parking, but then also people can come from Manhattan and the city over by ferry, so you don't have the parking issue. That's probably the easiest way to do it. And then also it's the holidays. So what better place to go shop than Empire Outlets? And then, you can have a fantastic dinner at some of the great restaurants, Clinton Hall, the Wasabi Japanese Steakhouse that opened up. Really, that is beginning to take great life and shape as well. So you can, and it's right there, right down, the way. So it's something for everybody. It's the little kids, it's the teenagers, but then also the parents can enjoy not only the Winter Lantern Festival, but they can enjoy Empire Outlets and get some last minute holiday shopping done.
Yes,
hint, hint.
Absolutely. And it's so close. You get off the ferry and it's right there.
Yep,
It's great.
exactly. Absolutely. Christine, very elaborate. The artwork is just amazing. And and some of the photos we were just looking at, really just incredible stuff. How does this year's display compared to ones in previous years?
Well, they have more lanterns, and they have a little bit of this story called Journey to the East, which in China, it's a very popular story, well-known folklore about Journey to the West, but now it's Journey to the East, coming east. And we're on the East Coast, so they tried to, fit it into the New York market. So it talks about how animals and nature, play such a big role in the culture, which is also something very important for kids to really appreciate and know and live by, right? So we have to live in our environment. So this is an opportunity, I think, for the kids, to maybe learn something, but also just to have fun too. I mean, at the end of the day, they just get mesmerized by the lights and wonderful photo op. So Nikki, for your birthday, what a great place to start.
Sounds great. You're getting me excited. I'm like, I need to talk to my family about this. I mean, it's such a great idea. Yeah. And I love the fact that what you said is so true. Sometimes we get so mesmerized and we're awestruck by the beauty. We forget we're actually learning something in the process, which is a great way to kind of, I don't want to say trick the kids into getting an education, but sort of trick the kids into getting an education. So people around town, I know we're hearing what people are saying. I want to ask you, what has the reception you've been hearing for the festival been so far?
Oh, it's been fantastic. I mean, even if you read this weekend in the Staten Island Advance, they had Brian Leyline did a column about it. And, it was, I think the artistic value to it, the colors, everybody seems to love it. So it's been very popular. It's open on the weekends for now, Friday through Sunday, 5:30 to 9:30. But then starting for Christmas week on December 23rd, it'll be open all 5 days of that week, except for Christmas. But then, you can enjoy a weekday, because that's another thing as a parent. That Christmas week, it's great, and then once Christmas comes, it's okay, what do you do with the kids?
Right.
Beforehand, they're really good. They want to be on that nice list, so they'll do everything you ask them to. They'll take the dishes out. They'll walk the dog all of a sudden. It's like that dog they begged us to get, saying they'll walk it every day. Yeah. By the way, before Christmas, they walk the dog. Starting with the dog gets ignored.
Trying to get on that good list, right, Christine?
Very true.
Absolutely. So where can people find out more information on this great event?
Sure. They can just go to winterlanternfestival.com and then it'll direct you to show ticks. And then remember, for the kids 12 and under, it's SIA Kids for them to put that code in. Or you can go straight up to the box office, which is on the water side of the stadium. So when you're going from the ferry and then you pass Empire Outlets, go through Empire Outlets, you're actually entering in center field, if you will.
Oh, easy.
Cool.
That makes it easy and convenient. Thank you. Christine, maybe I'll see you this weekend. We thank you so much again for taking time with us this morning.
Congratulations on the show. It's really terrific.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. Thank you so much. And if you want to go back and watch some of our fun, fabulous segments, of course, you can always find us on social media. Search for the Staten Island Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and just click follow. The NYPD's 123rd precinct helped to clean up some graffiti on Staten Island's South Shore. The work was done by the precinct's neighborhood coordination officers who helped paint over graffiti all across the neighborhood. A graffiti cleanup initiative was started by the NYPD in the spring of 2021. The program began after the department received over 6,000 graffiti complaints.
Wow.
Listen, I'm all for artwork, but when it's disruptive to the beauty of the community, that's another story.
Right, exactly. And I mean, some places maybe have, certain areas where they can go ahead and do that kind of artwork. Because again, it is artwork. It's amazing what some of these graffiti artists can do.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's just, you can't even believe the stuff that they're able to do.
It's impressive. It's often impressive, but it's not impressive when, like I said, when it feels disruptive and
so
I'm glad.
A subway car or something like that.
And I like to see the follow-up on an initiative like that. It's nice to see.
Excellent.
Mayor Adams' office renewed its warning on illegal cannabis shops across the 5 boroughs. In a tweet, the mayor's office said a city task force has seized roughly 100,000 products valued at over $4 million. The task force issued 500 civil violations and 66 criminal summonses in recent weeks. The move comes after Mayor Adams held a press conference last Thursday announcing new moves to address the problem.
Yeah, so a couple of weeks ago, we spoke with Mary Rafferty of Community Resources Staten Island to talk about how the work that they are helping to help people with intellectual disabilities live independently. Let's take a look. And joining us now is our CEO and Executive Director, Mary Rafferty. Thanks for coming on this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you
Hi,
for
Mary.
having me. Nice
Our
to see you.
pleasure. Well, it's good to have you with us, and we want to talk all about the organization, and we want to start with asking you how the organization helps people with intellectual disabilities to live independently.
Sure. Well, I'm so happy to say Community Resources in 2023 will be celebrating our 70th year here on Staten Island. And we support people in group homes in the community. So we have 15 group homes on Staten Island, 5 supportive apartments. We have a preschool over on Richmond Road that supports 80 children. And we have a day program that supports 200 people in day services and employment programs. So we've made some real headway this year in having our folks work in the community. And that's really our goal, to have people move on from day program into working, just like you and I, in the Staten Island community.
Yeah, and to live independently too. I guess that's one of the main goals as well. What are some of the services that you provide?
So we have residential supports, we have day supports, we have employment supports, we have the employment programs, which basically start with people having some support and then the staff kind of fading out, so that eventually people are able to have that little extra support during their initial phase of work and then to work independently. And we're here for the families too. We provide a lot of direction and support for families in terms of benefits.
It's important, right? Because it's not just, for each person who's struggling, there's a family around them that really contributes, to being a big part of their life. And it's probably also very grateful for the independence that they have, but I'm sure it's not always easy. What are some of the biggest challenges that you face when trying to help?
Well, I think for all non-for-profits, the pandemic really was a very challenging time. So, I mean, the number one priority was keeping people healthy and safe. And, we're starting to come out of it now, but we work under the auspices of OPWDD, the Office of People with Developmental Disabilities. So during the pandemic, day programs were very, very limited in what they were able to do. So I'm happy to say we have about 135 people back to day program full time,
Wow.
which has been a real help to families. So for all the challenges that the pandemic, made for families in their homes, group homes had real challenges because you have staff that are coming in and out of the homes. So I think Community Resources and many of our sister agencies on Staten Island really rose to the occasion of keeping people safe.
Yeah, that was certainly most important for everyone. So how have you been able to add to the resources that you provide?
So, for all non-for-profits, we rely on fundraising and donors. So we're always trying to think of new and innovative ways to raise funds. Last year, we had our first golf outing that was actually at one of the virtual golf facilities, which was very successful. And it was also 100 degrees on Staten Island that day. So our golfers were really happy for the air conditioning. And this year for our 70th year anniversary, we're going to try to do a few really different fundraisers. We're going to hopefully in March have a taste of Staten Island. And really embrace the Staten Island community and do things to raise some funds that provide for the extras, that we're not funded for.
Well, for those who have not had a taste of Staten Island yet, you'll definitely want to show up for that one, because I promise the food
I'm sure it'll
can't
be
be
very
beat.
good. Exactly.
Second to none.
Right, absolutely. So, Mary, how can people find out more so that they can help as well?
So I'm happy to say our website is up and running and we're all over social media. So we would love it if people followed us on social media because we'll advertise our fundraising events there. And it's just really a great way to see what's going on over here. We do pretty frequent posts with pictures of things that are actually happening here. We have a wonderful urban garden And our folks this year, we just actually got a shout out at Our Lady of Pity. We donate from our urban garden to their food kitchen once a week.
Nice.
And that's been going on now for a while. So all of those posts are up there, and all of our community relationships are up there.
That's nice.
Well, Mary, continued success and all the great work that you're doing. And thanks again so much for coming on here this morning.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me, and stop by and visit us one of these days.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Happy holidays.
Happy
too.
holidays to you too.
All right. So earlier we brought you the story of Jar of Hope, a charity run by Staten Island native Jim Raffone. He was inspired by his son's battle with a rare form of muscular dystrophy. Let's take a look. Jim, good morning.
Hi, Jim.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me.
So, Jim, your journey with Jar of Hope is very personal and starts with your son. Can you tell us about him and how you came to start the nonprofit?
Sure. Thank you. So back in September of 2013, my son, James Anthony Raffone, who is the inspiration behind Jar of Hope, was diagnosed with a terminal muscle wasting disease known as Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Duchenne, unfortunately, is 100% fatal. It does not have a cure. It's been around for about 200 years now, and not one single child has ever survived. But Jar of Hope is here with the help of all its supporters to finally put an end to that and try and save the first child.
Wow. And what you're doing is truly incredible. Can you tell us a little bit about it? Because we want to really understand what Jar of Hope is. And I know that you did something just absolutely extraordinary and actually climbed Mount Everest for your son. So tell us a little bit about this extraordinary situation.
Well, it was 9 years ago when this journey started, fighting Duchenne muscular dystrophy. My goal was to try and get everybody in the health and fitness industry behind this muscle wasting disease to try and fight it and bring an end to it. Unfortunately, a friend of mine had passed away Christmas a year ago, and he was a huge supporter. His name was Richard Delano, and he was a huge supporter of ours. And that left a void, not only in our personal lives, but also in raising funds to try and find a cure for this disease. And I couldn't think of a bigger or better way to fill that void. And within 45 days, Jar of Hope, myself, and 3 other dads, we planned a trip going to Nepal and climbing to Mount Everest Base Camp.
Wow. Wow.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Mount Everest. Wow. I mean, that is literally the pinnacle. That's the top. It doesn't get any higher than that. Wow.
That's it.
So what has the process of growing Jar of Hope into what it is now been like?
It has not been easy. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of obstacles in the way of trying to fund research because there's not many children. There's less than 17,000 children in the U.S. who have this disease. Trying to fund research is tough because children are diagnosed by the age of 4. They lose ambulation by the age of 9. So trying to get children together who are still walking and what parents are willing to put them in a clinical trial is very tough. And then on top of it, if you can put a clinical trial together, they say 86% of all the clinical trials fail within the first year only because they don't have enough funding. So for us, we're about to put a clinical trial together at the University of Florida, the first ever. It's a novel approach to fighting Duchenne muscular dystrophy, but we need $1.7 million to do this clinical trial. And that's what brought us to Mount Everest, to climb there. And myself and the other 3 dads, we raised just about $200,000 to do that.
Wow.
So it was an amazing journey.
That's incredible. I mean, it's so touching too, right? To know that so many people come together to do what they have to help. And I think that's just incredible. And so the money that you're raising from Jar of Hope, so you're using that money obviously to help with the clinical research you said. How else is it used to help?
Well, fortunately, unfortunately, things we don't talk about because in the community, children pass away at a young age, is we've helped families lay their children to rest. We've bought medical equipment for families as well. We've helped purchase wheelchair accessible vans for family, help pay some people's mortgages, whatever we can do to help families. That's our goal, to get through this really humiliating disease. And it's really like torture for families just to watch your child break down and fall apart. I can speak about that firsthand. Though my son James, we call him Jamesy, is doing rather well for a child with Duchenne, it's still heart-wrenching to see your child go from a little boy that runs around to now someone who's basically, wheelchair bound. It's very difficult to process.
Well, God bless you and
Yeah,
your family.
exactly. Jim, just amazing work that Jar of Hope is doing. How can people learn more about the organization, and especially how can they donate? How can they help out?
Please, if anybody can go to jarofhope.org and make a donation, we would really appreciate it. We need a little over $1.5 million to get this clinical trial going, but hopefully soon enough we can do this and help 12 children around the world.
Oh, I hope we can.
Yeah. Hopefully we can provide some hope and help, and certainly, get you to that goal.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you so much, Jim Raffone. And please, send our love and our prayers to your son as well, to Jamesy. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, and happy holidays to everybody.
Same to you.
Thank you. You too.
And if you want to go back and watch some of our fun, fabulous segments, of course, you can always find us on social media. Search for the Staten Island Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and just click follow. Santa Claus brought presents to the Staten Foundation's Mother Francisca Elementary School, and he did it with a little help from the NYPD. Highway District 5 officers helped bring Christmas joy to the kids as part of the school's 10th annual Santa Day. The officers helped load gifts into a police van and also helped them out to help the kids, right? The police also helped Santa get there on time, listen to this, with a 12 motorcycle escort through the streets of Staten Island. The Staten Foundation works to serve the educational needs of students with special needs. Sweet story.
Yes, love that story. It's just the motorcycle escort, right, for Santa. Where I live, they had the fire department bringing Santa around.
Oh, I love that too.
In the last couple of weeks, so it's a lot of fun.
Special for those kids.
So, Nikki, what do you think are New York's favorite Christmas cookies?
Ooh, I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about this one.
Okay, a new map from Google says it's Italian Christmas cookies.
Of course it is.
The map looked at search trends from all 50 states to determine each one's favorite Italian cookies were a popular choice across the Northeast, as they were the favorite in New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Maine, which is basically almost all except for Massachusetts. The map is pretty regional, with the Midwest preferring peanut butter blossoms and the South favoring gingerbread cookies. I wonder why peanut butter blossoms are so popular in this central part of the country. I'm not sure, but again, that's pretty, I think it's kind of obvious with the Christmas cookies,
shocked.
right? Yeah.
I didn't want to sound biased. I mean, my last name is
sure.
Stanzione. I didn't want to sound biased saying Italian cookies, but we all know when you're in Staten Island, there's nothing like Italian food.
And there's some great places in Staten Island to get Italian cookies, some of the best in the world.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to deny you on that.
I lived in the Midwest. I didn't realize peanut butter was a big deal there. I didn't know. I love peanut butter, but my heart belongs
to the Italian cookies.
To the Italians in the New York area.
That's right.
Thank you all so much for watching. We hope you have an amazing holiday season. I'm Nikki Stanzione.
And I'm Don Smith. We'll see you back here next time. Happy holidays. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.